Today we're going to go through the sewage evacuation system. One of those things that just, God, for the new RVer, they just think that's maybe the worst thing in the world for them. But really, when you do it, you learn how to do it right, it's really not all that bad. You want to make sure when you open the door, always push in on the top. Don't just pull in on the bottom, push in on the top. And then you get into your utility system. You have a large sewer hose where you will put in the campground or the utility station that you stop at, the receiver. You have the black water tank and the gray water tank. You want to make sure those are both well closed before opening the cap. There's usually a pass-through hole in the floor, so remove the little pass-through thing. And once you know that those are both closed, and then you have a cap that you can just turn and just turns and snaps off. You have those little locking tangs so that so the cap locks in place. Move that. You have this end which locks into the evacuation unit. Okay, very much just like the cap did. You've got the little locking tangs in place, so it locks when you have it in there. Pass through if you can, and then you just twist it and lock it in place. Make sure it's well locked. Okay. Once you have that well locked, you want to go ahead and pull the black tank valve. Let the black tank just you'll hear it flushing out of there. Then you would pull the gray tank valve. Because what you want is that you want just the water, the wastewater from the showers and the sinks to kind of flush out the hose. You know, every now and then pick up the hose to make sure that the hose is evacuated. Next, you just want to flush some fresh water into the black tank to make sure it's good and clean. This is not a procedure that you necessarily do each time you flush it. If it's an interim flush during your trip, you still want to probably backflush it about once a week or so. Okay? So you've got the freshwater hose, which gets screwed into this, as I said, it's labeled black tank flush. Just like a garden hose, just screw that on. And you can just then turn on your hose. Run some water in there. Okay. And then again, once you don't hear any more fluid rushing through that hose, you can go ahead and close the black tank valve, close the gray tank valve, double check, wiggle the hose, make sure there's nothing left in the hose before you undo the hose. Twist the hose off of its locking tangs, and then you just want to lock that cap back in place, and then you want to just kind of screw the cap through back in place, and then make sure you turn your water hose off before you unscrew it. You take fresh water hose and rinse out the sewage hose. Back in. There's one more step that is vitally important after you get all that done, but we have to go inside the coach to do it. The very last thing we want to do is we just want to drop something down the commode. It kind of degrades them and keeps the odors down so that it breaks them down so that the flush is easier. Keep those stored in this lower cabinet. They are just little plastic packets. Just open the commode, open the valve, drop it in, flush the valve flush the commode a couple times because the water activates it and dissolves the plastic around it, and then it just kind of filters and dissolves into the tank itself and just breaks down all those solids and keeps the odors down. So next time it all flushes through, and that's all it is. It's all done.